Hi, good evening, everyone. We are here today for our Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 Town Council Work Session. Ms. Holtz, can you take the roll for us, please?
Yes. Mayor Robert Axmacher,
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Luke Wagner,
Here.
Councilmember Jeremy Holt, Councilmember Bill Jenkins,
Here.
Councilmember Lisa Lake.
Here.
All right, 4 members are present. We were expecting Councilmember Holt's absence today. He's out of town. We're here today to talk about the presentation and discussion of the Timnath Transportation Safety Action Plan. So I will turn it over to Ms. Guevuamini.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. We are here tonight to discuss transportation safety in Timnath. We have just begun a year-long journey, federally funded project to create a transportation safety action plan. We'll explain a little bit more on what this is a little bit later. Our time with you this evening is pretty brief. We are 30 minutes, so we're going to move pretty fast as usual. We have a 10-minute presentation. We are going to do a 10-minute exercise with the QR code in front of you, so save that for later, and a 10-minute summary and discussion with whatever time we have remaining. This is just the first step of the journey as we embark on our safety action plan, so this is just to kind of introduce you guys to the project. With us this evening, we have some of our consultant team that's working for the town. Next Phase Engineering is the prime consultant, represented by Martina Wilkinson and Joe Olson. They've been a part of about a half a dozen safety action plans around Colorado, in addition to creating our traffic policies, including neighborhood traffic calming and pedestrian crossing guidelines, and have been an integral part of our traffic and transportation program. Also here this evening is Charlotte Norvell with Chickenango, a marketing firm overseeing the outreach and engagement for this plan. I'll let them take it from here.
Good evening. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. We are pleased to be here this evening to introduce to you the roadway safety action plan that we'll be working on throughout the rest of 2026. As Kim said, it's a little bit of a speed round this evening, given our brief time, but please do know that there'll be additional opportunities for you to engage and provide input. Before we delve into a lot of these details, let's just take a minute to sort of recognize the gravity of the topic at hand. Roadway crashes are not just abstract events that we spend a lot of time analyzing in terms of the numbers, but they're really profoundly impactful on everybody that's involved, those that are involved in the crash, their families, the community, the first responders. And so it's important to keep that in mind. The good news is that with a intentional and deliberate and thoughtful and collaborative, multi-layered plan, safety really can be improved in the town of Timnath. Tonight's objectives, we'll briefly give you an overview of the project. We'll talk just initially about some of the very early data that we're seeing. And then again, the most of the time that we'd like to have is to get some input from you all. Timnath applied for and received a federal grant to complete a roadway safety action plan. The federal grant comes through an initiative called Safe Streets for All. It requires an 80% federal funding and then a 20% local match. So what is a safety action plan? It is intended to be this really comprehensive, data-driven process with a goal of what's called Vision Zero. Vision Zero is a national initiative that's been around for a handful of years now. And what that really means is that there's this concept that we should all be striving towards a time when there are no serious injuries or fatals on our roadway system. The Vision Zero approach uses what we call the safe systems approach. It is this multi-layered way of looking at safety, which is really complicated And it requires looking at all these different elements, from vehicles to safer roads, a recognition that humans make mistakes, and that we want to create a roadway system that is as forgiving as possible. The important piece there, and that's the third bullet there in the bottom, is that a safety action plan, an adopted safety action plan, is actually required to be eligible for federal safety implementation funds, for you to be able to apply for those in the future. And that's part of why you're seeing all of these communities now pursuing safety action plans. Windsor, Loveland, Fort Collins, Larimer County, Weld County, and everyone's completing these in order to make themselves be eligible. We want your safety action plan to be practical. We want it to be useful. We want it to be really specific with things that your staff can do to implement safety improvements in the town. But there's also a list of requirements that the federal government tells you has to be checked off in order for you to be fully eligible, and you can see those requirements there. A lot of those are things that we would be doing anyway, the community outreach, being data-driven, but we'll make sure that we check off all of those items. Crash data. We'll be talking an awful lot about crash data in the next 8 months or so, but before we talk about the data, let's talk about what that means. What does safety actually mean? There's really different kinds of safety. There's perceived safety. That's when you and I drive down the road, or residents drive down the road, and there's this perception of, does it feel safe? Does it feel like maybe it's a squirrely intersection? There's nominal safety. That is whether or not a particular piece of infrastructure actually meets your specific standards or warrants. And then there's actual safety. Those are the crash numbers that we look at. The evaluation of actual safety is guided by the Highway Safety Manual. That's a national best standard, a national best practice that we'll be using to evaluate all of your numbers. These three kinds of safety are not the same, but they are also not mutually exclusive. And as we develop your program, we'll be looking for things that address all different kinds of safety. Initial data. Normally, crash data, if a crash happens, Timnath Police responds. They fill out a crash form. That form goes to the Department of Revenue at the state. The state then takes that and moves it over to the Department of Transportation with some minor scrubbing. Eventually, the Department of Transportation makes that data available to local agencies. If you follow that whole process, it takes a while, and there is not a lot of local scrubbing of that data to ensure that it's accurate. So what we're doing is working with your PD or your police department. They've been tremendous partners so far, in sort of short-circuiting that process, by which you can, as soon as that crash report gets filled out, it also goes into a local database. And so we now have 5 years of data in the database from 21 to 25, and we'll be using that, using local staff to scrub that data, and then we can do things like one of those initial maps that you see there. On average, you got out between 80 and 90 crashes a year. In the last 5 years, there's been 5 serious injury crashes and, unfortunately, 2 fatalities. In addition to all the mapping that you see there, we can also look at the data with trends. We can slice and dice it in a variety of different ways, the types of crashes, locations, to get a feel for how things are working in Timnath. You can see there the trends for the last 5 years, and from 23 to 25, pretty steady in terms of your crash numbers. What we do with the data, we'll be looking for insights, understanding what's been going on with the crashes. We'll do the mapping. We'll look at trends and types. We'll do crash diagrams, a sample of which there is on the bottom right, that show a particular intersection and what's happening with the vehicles as those crashes occur. We'll be doing intersection screening. We'll take locations that have more crashes than maybe what we would expect at a particular intersection and do road safety audits to identify countermeasures that can support safety. And then we'll also be able to do before and after studies. The outcome of your project is to have an ongoing data system where we can continue to collect this data, a process then that you can use in future years that will have a more complete understanding of the existing conditions, locations that we want to take a look at. We'll be looking for low-cost items that are sort of quick builds. We'll be doing concept plans and some cost estimates to make you ready for grants as they come forward. We'll have a whole countermeasure toolbox for your staff to be able to go to and understand what items are that they could be able to use. And then we'll be working as well on education and enforcement opportunities. All right, that's a really brief introduction. Now we want to get to the piece that's of most interest. And I'll turn it over to Charlotte.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Thanks for having us. Was everyone able to pull up the QR code on the handout in front of you? Give you just a moment to do that. What we'll be doing is using this platform called Mentimeter to gather your live responses. So as you are entering responses, it will show in real time on the screen. Just a caveat, your input that you put in tonight is not final or binding, so go with your gut feeling. You're welcome to use your phone or tablet as we go through. There's a couple of different question types. One is ranking, so you'll be able to rank the different options based on your order of priority. The top is the most important, and the bottom is the least important. And then we'll get to a word cloud where you type in one word or phrase at a time, and the responses will show, and then you can kind of upvote people's other responses by repeating the phrase that they did or the word. Is everyone able to pull it up okay, or is there anything I can do to help? Okay. And we'll have 6 questions. And safety and concerns and priorities, those ranking ones will be first. And then before we get into the last question, that's the word cloud, I'm going to provide a little bit more context. Okay, our first question is, where is the biggest safety concern for Timnath's transportation network? So on your screen, you'll be able to click on the ones that are your priority and then rank them up and down. Are you all seeing that question? And then hit submit when you're done. Wow. Well, you all were very fast. It looks like all 4 of you were able to do it, so that's great. So school areas look like it was the #1 priority. And just to let you know, we'll take all this information and compile it and give it back to you at a later date. This is super helpful. Second is major roads, regional roads, pedestrian crossings is 3rd, internal to neighborhoods 4th, commercial zones 5th, and Old Town area 6th. And at the end, we'll have a little time for discussion to hear about maybe your other suggestion.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, mine was influenced by your data slide, like where the accidents happen.
Okay. And you were the other location was based on that, or just in general?
No,
Sure. Apologies. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so this question's very similar. What is the biggest safety concern? So it looks like the same question, but instead of where, it's what. Nope, this is the second one.
Second one.
We did where? Oh, okay, perfect. We can go back to the other one then. Okay, so the safety action plan. I'm sorry about that. Well, I can tell you what I am seeing on my screen. So the number one priority was to evaluate and enhance pedestrian crossings. Number two was to create and refine policies and programs such as speed limits and neighborhood calming. Number three was to educate and engage residents regarding transportation safety. And four was to construct transportation infrastructure. And five was to increase speed enforcement. On your end, what all question are you all seeing? Perfect. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and go with that one. Looks like we're waiting for one more. No worries.
Now we can tell how you voted.
Oh,
It looks like a tie almost for 1 and 2. Bicycle safety, growth-related traffic, intersection safety and visibility, school zone safety, pedestrian crossings, speeding, and other. I'm gonna try to get to this one. I think hopefully this one will be on your phones. You see it? So, well, we can do that in our quick discussion. But Martina spoke a little bit about the Vision Zero goal. And although, it seems tough to set a vision that there's no traffic fatalities and serious injuries, there's no, consequences or rewards if you do meet that goal. But it is a federal requirement of the grant that one is set. And we will be coming back to council to get this more finalized for the plan later. So we're just trying to get your gut reaction right now, where you're feeling might be an appropriate time. And there's consensus, then that's great. Less than 10 years. So our last question has a little bit of, this is the word cloud question, a little bit of background information. So here we're talking about vision and mission, and we'll have a vision and mission statement that's guided by your input for the plan. So a vision statement is very aspirational, and a mission statement provides the how. And I know it always kind of gets tricky when you're trying to remember the vision and the mission, but the vision is the big picture. But we are going to have you all put in with that word cloud question up 3 or maybe more keywords. You just put in one at a time and you can keep submitting. And then once you see someone else's that you agree with, you could, as long as you spell it the same, you can type that in and it will get bigger. So it will give us kind of a visual of what's most important to you. right, well, I'll give you just a couple more seconds to type in a response, and then we can move on to discussion. But what I'm hearing or seeing here is that there's a lot of focus on measurable, evidence-based, data-driven. You're a very analytical and practical group. And for the two of you that will be on our stakeholder group, you'll have lots of opportunities to really dig into the data, understand it more. All right. So very briefly, here is our schedule. We're here in mid-April already, and we're working on the data scrubbing, GIS mapping, engagement. We'll be going to Touch a Truck coming up soon. Stakeholder meetings will continue to happen. We'll have 3 throughout the summer and the spring. We'll have 1 next week. And then more later in the year, we'll be doing the road safety audits that were mentioned. And we'll be coming back to you all with the final adoption and draft plan. So we just ask that you continue to stay involved by being a champion, letting people know about our website. There's an interactive map where people can say where their concerns are. Thank you to the liaisons that will be on our stakeholder committee, and then we'll be back, like I said, in January for the adoption meeting. With that, we have a little bit of time left. Was there anything we missed or anything that you have some final thoughts are, anything that we're missing that you'd like to share?
Just to be clear, data will continue to be added to the crash database and will help inform decisions going forward.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the process that we're setting up for you, is that the database will be an ongoing database. So you'll continue to receive crash reports from your PD department. Those go into your database, and then on an annual basis, you can take a look at those. And so it's an ongoing project. It's not just a
I'm just
one-time.
thinking, you know, for example, as Ladera develops, there's going to be a lot of different kinds of multimodal traffic in there, cars, bikes, pedestrians, et cetera. And so be important to be monitoring what goes on there.
And have it being an ongoing project
Yeah.
that you can do on an annual basis.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you both very much. We appreciate your work on this. We will formally adopt our committee assignments at the next council meeting, but Mayor Pro Tem Wagner and Councilmember Jenkins have both expressed they'd like to be the liaisons to this, so I expect that will be the plan.
Wonderful. And yeah, we'll recap everything that we talked about tonight and get that out to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right, with that, I will adjourn the work session and we will convene at 6 o'clock for our regular meeting.
Test, test, test.
Call to order the Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 Timnath Town Council meeting. Ms. Elsholtz, can you please take the roll?
Yes. Mayor Robert Axmacher,
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Luke Wagner,
Here.
Councilmember Jeremy Holt, Councilmember Bill Jenkins,
Here.
Councilmember Lisa Lake.
Here.
All right, 4 council members are present. We expected Councilmember Holt to be absent this evening. He's out of town. Council, are there any requests to amend the agenda this evening? Okay. In hearing none, we will move on to public comment. I don't know that anyone has signed up, but I will put the call out. Is there anyone that did not sign up but would like to address council this evening? Okay. We will move on to our consent agenda, consisting of 5 items this evening. First is approval of the March 24th, 2026 Town Council meeting minutes. Second, resolution number 23, series 2026, a resolution appointing the Town of Timnath Finance Committee members. Third, resolution number 24, series 2026, a resolution appointing new members to the Prost Committee. Fourth, resolution number 25, series 2026, a resolution approving the work order with JUB Engineers for the Timnath Reservoir Trail design improvements. And finally, resolution number 26, series 2026, a resolution approving a district maintenance and access agreement and the amendments to irrigation easement and agreement with the Kitchell Lake F3 Development Corp. And Saratoga Falls Metropolitan District Number 1 on town-owned right-of-way within the Saratoga Falls subdivision, third filing. Council, any request to amend or to pull an item from the consent agenda? And seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay? Consent agenda passes unanimously. Before we continue, Mr. Casal, I understand we might have some members from our newly appointed members from the Prost Committee present.
Yes, we do have, excuse me, we do have one of our new members for the Pros Committee here. This is Katrina Bryant. So she just was appointed for 2 years.
Very good. Well, Ms. Bryant, thank you very much. It's nice to meet you, and let us thank you in advance for your service to the Prost Committee. If you have any questions, our Prost expert is Councilmember Lake, who you may or may not know, but she can give you all the inside scoop. So we very much appreciate it. Thank you for being here. All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we also have somebody from the finance who just got
I'm sorry.
appointed too.
Great.
Lisa's, I was faced towards you, I didn't even see her coming up, but I think she was going to say the same thing.
Great.
Yes, we also have Don Kirkpatrick here. He's one of the appointees to the Finance Committee for a 2-year term.
Very good. Thank you, Don. Thank you for being here. The Finance Committee is very important to the council. We always appreciate the eyes and ears on what we're doing. And as Mayor Pro Tem Wagner will tell you, it starts with the Finance Committee, and next thing you know, you're sitting up here. So thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, anything to add?
I was going to mention it in my council comments, but we had really qualified candidates this, as we always do for the Finance Committee, but really excited to have Don and Dave on the Finance Committee. And we're really excited to bring them on for the upcoming audit that we're going to have here soon. So welcome, Don. I'm sure that's going to be super exciting to start with, but we've got a lot happening in the town, so we're very excited to have you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we will now move on to mayor and council reports. Testing. I would like to ask all of council to join me.
As folks are aware, we just had an election in Timnath, and at our next council meeting, the new council will take office. But today we are here to celebrate and recognize Council Member Lisa Lake, whose term will now be over. But Council Member Lake really has been invaluable to the town of Timnath and to our council. Lisa first joined the council in 2018, so she's been here for the past 8 years. Timnath has changed a lot in 8 years. In the 2010 census, Timnath had 625 people. Shortly after she took office in 2020, we are up to 6,000, and now we're well over 12,000. During her time on council, Lisa has been a part of opening this building, Town Center, in 2019. She was part of bringing the police station to town, which came online in 2022. Also bringing our police department to a full-time 24/7 full-service department. In 2023, through her work in the Prost Committee, the Timnath Community Park Phase 3 opened, which included our pickleball courts and the splash pad there. In 2024, broadband came to town, and in 2025, Wild Wing Park opened. Throughout her time on council, Lisa has been a strong advocate for communication and transparency in our community. She brought about the Council Chat program, which now has each of us on a rotating basis connecting directly with the community. She was also an advocate long before COVID of bringing streaming to what we do here, so that the community can, from the convenience of their home, be involved and see what's going on here. And as I mentioned, has been very, very involved in the Prost Committee, and it's just amazing to see what our Parks and Recreation Department is today, both in terms of facilities and programming and connectivity, including the Pooter Trail, which we will officially be opening in early June. I want to personally thank and recognize Lisa. She has always been someone who encourages and wants to support individuals that want to get involved in town government and council. I, to this day, remember when I considered running for council, I cold called Lisa, and she probably spent an hour on the phone with me talking about her experience on council, her experience in running for council. We had never met before, but she was very, very generous with her time. Lisa, we're going to miss you tremendously. The town and council very much appreciates the voice that you bring to every meeting. And you've mentioned that you're not going away, that you will continue to be involved, that you will be bringing popcorn to the meetings and enjoying things from that perspective. But I would like to present you with this plaque, presented to Lisa Lake, council member, with deep appreciation for your dedicated service to the town of Timnath, 2018 to 2026. And Lisa, anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you first to my current council, as well as all of the previous council members I've worked with. Robert is the third mayor in my time on council, and I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of other great community members on council. I also want to thank the community for allowing me the opportunity to serve for the last 8 years. As Robert mentioned, there's been a lot of changes to our community in that time. When I first joined council, we were actually over at the Goodman building still in the community room where the Prost Committee actually meets now. So just looking at some of those changes, I don't even think that would be possible at this point anymore. Also want to just thank the staff who really runs the town day to day. They have their hand in all of the aspects that you see around town, And while we kind of guide the direction, they're the ones really out there doing the work. Anytime I've ever had questions, they've always been able to answer them. I will be attending some of the meetings. I will be bringing popcorn for some of the people in the back of the room there and watching. And I definitely always encourage other community members to be involved, to take any opportunities they can to come to council meetings, speak to council members at the council chats, and I plan on continuing to be involved in a different way than I am currently now. So thank you, everyone.
All right. Still in council updates. I guess since I have the mic, I will start off. First of all, last week we had our town council election. I very much wanted to thank the town staff that helped run that election, Lizzie and Katrin. Thank you both very much. You know, that can be a stressful process. Especially as we transitioned between town clerks, and the two of you really stepped up. It went seamlessly, and really appreciate you know, that democratic process is so important, and we really appreciate it. Also wanted to thank those that stepped up to be election judges. You know, a fair, transparent, community-involved process is just essential to democracy, and appreciate those that stepped up. I also wanted to thank all of the candidates that ran, although certainly, you know, ultimately, two people are elected. The process of going through the election and the issues and the conversations that the election brings forth is really important to the process. And so I wanted to express my gratitude to everyone who stepped up and ran. Shifting gears, I wanted to talk a little bit about Poudre School District and a process that they have going on. They have a committee that is looking at their long-term facility planning, and they're addressing kind of the changing dynamics in the school district, including decreased enrollment and shift in enrollment patterns. So they have this committee that's going to be making some recommendations in terms of what happens there. I attended a meeting where they outlined some of the likely criteria as part of this. And I will note that one of the criteria they're looking at has to do with facility age and facility condition. I'll note that here in town, Timnath Elementary is one of the oldest facilities in the district, and that I think is very much you know, something that we in town are thinking about, and maybe sometimes uneasy about what the outcome of things could be. The school district is hosting a number of community forums on this, and although folks can show up to any forum, the one that will take place here locally will be at the Timnath Middle High School on April 25th at 10 a.m. So I encourage folks to attend that, and encourage folks to make their voices heard. In the meeting that I attended, I talked about two things that I've heard is very important to our community. The first is the sense of community that we have built in Timnath surrounding our schools. And just as council previously adopted a resolution encouraging the school district to keep Timnath kids in Timnath, as they go through this process, I really do encourage them to consider the potential impacts of fragmenting the community that we've worked so hard to build. And then the other thing that I discussed is the importance of safe streets and the ability for our students to safely travel to and from school. And so obviously going to neighborhood schools where there are walkability options and you know, safe pedestrian crossing options and all the things that we just started talking about in our work session is critically important. And you know, so obviously the larger the distances that students and families have to travel, the more challenging those safety issues become. That's all I have for updates. I will turn it over to Councilmember Lake.
The last update I have is that we did have the Prost Committee meeting last week. And I do want to give another shout out to the new Prost Committee members. I believe it is, we have Katrina here, and then I believe Dawn is it Dawn that's here as well, who stepped in after. So to thank them, as well as Casey, who's not here today. And at our last Prost Committee meeting, we did have some of the new members who were able to attend, even though they weren't officially on the Prost Committee. And we also had a couple of members leaving the Prost Committee. So I just want to give a thank you to them. I know they're not here today. But just want to acknowledge all the work that they've done. They were actually part of the Prost Committee before I was part of the Prost Committee. So they were some of the original, the OG members of the Prost Committee, and they have just finished their time on that. And I just want to give a huge shout out to all the work that they've done, and hopefully whoever takes over for the Prost Committee on Council, I just want to assure you that you have a great group of community members, including 2 youth members who are very actively involved and will definitely give their opinions, will talk about any concerns they have, and I just want you to know that you will be in good hands with the members that are on there, and just wanted to acknowledge those that are here today.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Yeah, I have 3 different topics. First, from the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, we got an update on the Front Range passenger rail proposal, which is moving ahead at a pretty fast pace with community meetings being held. They've been very well attended and very positive feedback. As most of you may know, that they named the passenger rail the Colorado Connector, also known as COCO. Something interesting is also happening with the taxing district. So Timnath currently in Windsor, and formerly Weld County was in the taxing district. Weld bowed out. What is being proposed now and should end up being a state law to define the taxing district will be within 3 miles of the track. So what that means is Timnath will no longer be part of the taxing district, nor will Windsor. And the tax proposal is likely to go before the voters within the taxing district this November, and it's proposed to be a property tax. I don't know how much, but some amount of mill levy. It won't affect us in Timnath, so I guess that's good news. They are trying to actually have this up and running by 2027 on existing tracks, with ultimately 10 round trips per day between Fort Collins and Denver as the first segment of the proposed Colorado Connector. So that's it from the NFR MPO. Then yesterday I attended the Larimer County Behavioral Health Policy Council meeting. We meet quarterly. I know they just published a 25 annual report, which all council members have copies. There are several hard copies that Manager Adams has. And our marketing department has put out links to the digital version for anybody that's subscribed to the town. I wanted to touch on a couple of a few highlights from that report. First, in July, they added adolescent crisis stabilization unit with five beds, and that's for adolescents from 12 to 17 that are in crisis. They're going to raise that to 8 beds later this year with additional staffing that they are in the process of putting in place. The other thing is that last year they granted $3 million in funds to various community organizations within Larimer County. They will probably do another $2.4 million this year, and the Policy Council will review that in August. And then they're opening a third adult wing there, bringing their total beds to 56. And I think it's worth noting in the report that since 2019, the voter passed tax was 2018. They really started implementing in 2019. The Longview Center, I'm not sure what year it, 2023. But there are 185 residents individual residents of Timnath that have been served through this behavioral health program. So it is valuable to the citizens of Timnath. So I think it's worth looking online to the digital version. There are also some impact stories there that I think are pretty moving. We're one of only 200 communities in the country that has specific taxing for behavioral health, and it has a big impact on keeping individuals with really behavioral health problems from ending up in the wrong place, like a jail, where things, they're not really getting the attention and having their health needs met. So this is a great addition to the community. And then the last thing is an issue that has affected the town of Timnath, I would say, since January, post Christmas presents, primarily, I suspect, and that is the fact that we've had e-toys, e-motorcycles, unlicensed, operating in the town of Timnath on sidewalks, in our park, damaging our park, costing the taxpayers money to try to prevent further damage. And this past Saturday, I was out walking my dog in the community park on my way back home, and lo and behold, here comes probably a 13-year-old, 14-year-old on an e-bike, tearing through the park on the grass over one of the mounds. And right behind him was a similar-aged juvenile on a gas-powered 4x4, riding through Timnath Community Park and then turning around on the Poudre River Trail section. And when I hollered at the young man to get off the grass, they took off full tilt on the sidewalk towards Bethke. This is a problem that needs to be solved. I know that our staff is working on the What Wheels Go Where project, and we'll have town codes and education, but really kids driving these things at high speed on sidewalks and in parks is just a dangerous situation. I'm very concerned that somebody's going to be seriously injured or hurt. And one of the kids, I believe the juvenile on the 4x4 was not even wearing a helmet. So it's a real serious situation, I believe, and I'm concerned about it. And so I hope we can get our communication going soon on What Wheels Go Where, and I hope we can also enforce the laws that are in place, as well as any new ordinances that come out of our What Wheels Go Where project. I will also note that this is not unique to Timnath. This is happening all over Colorado in many other communities, and they're dealing with it by passing new laws, but also enforcing existing laws, including impounding the vehicles and other actions. So anyways, I hope we get a handle on this soon before somebody gets hurt. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Jenkins. And Tom, am I correct that we should be here for first reading on Which Wheels Go Where on the 28th?
Correct. And we'll have the policy as part of the packet.
Great. Look forward to seeing that. Thank you. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Wagner.
Yeah. Just want to touch on my previous comments. Want to thank Robert and Bill for their time on the Finance Committee. Again, a really important committee, and thank you for their years of service on the Finance Committee. We're super excited to have Don and Dave on the committee. I know if Councilmember Holt was here, he would say the same. So we continue to get really qualified candidates for this committee, which is really exciting. It's a really tough decision between our candidates, which is always a good problem to have. So we hopefully will, as these candidates, as members drop from the committee after their time is over, hopefully these candidates will continue to apply. We'd love to have you on the committee. So thank you again to Robert and Bill for their time on the committee. I'll briefly touch on the election. I appreciate your comments, Mayor. I want to just say thank you to the Timnath voters. I'm honored to serve again for the Timnath community. A lot of what I heard out in the community, I will take forward into this election about thoughtful growth, safe streets that we've talked a lot about, water conservation, and strong town financials. So thank you again to the Timnath voters. I'm very honored. I want to thank you to Dennis and May for running a great campaign. Congratulations, Dennis. I see you're in the audience. I also want to thank my family and friends for supporting me throughout this election. I couldn't have done it without them, especially my family. It was a long 3 months, a lot of late nights and getting everything organized. So thank you, Erica. Thank you, John. Thank you, Cora, if you're out there listening.
All right. Anything else? All right, we have one regular business item this evening, which is item 6A, resolution number 27, series 2026. Resolution approving the proposal with AP Mountain States LLC doing business as Adolfson and Peterson Construction, AP, for the construction of the Timnath Rec Center. Mr. Smith.
Your Honor, the Mayor, members of council, it's my pleasure to present to you for your consideration this evening a resolution approving the proposal from AP for the construction of the Timnath Recreation Center. This is sort of a brief recent history of where we're at, how we've gotten here today. Started out with Prost master planning, public engagement, then public opinion polls, and then ultimately in November of 25, town residents voted in favor of a 1.25% sales tax. So hiring a general contractor to perform pre-construction and construction services is the next step. As you recall, you approved the architect at a previous meeting. So a little bit about the procurement process. So a non-priced RFP was issued on December 22nd of 25. The town received 9 responses to that solicitation. Of those 9, the staff review team scored all 9 of those, shortlisted 3 firms. All 3 firms were issued a pricing RFP, and all 3 firms were also interviewed during the week of March 16th. Based on all of that input, it was determined that the proposal submitted by Adolphson Peterson was the most appropriate, most advantageous to the town. So a little bit about the process and where we're headed here. If you notice in the packet, the pre-construction fee is $75,000. So that's essentially what you're approving tonight. So there's a lot of work that goes into it before we know the actual cost of the recreation center. So once the contractor's in place, they'll become a part of the OAC team, owner, architect, and contractor. And as we give updates in the future, I'll use that term a lot, OAC. So that's one of the acronyms that you'll hear a lot. The OAC team works jointly through the design, permitting, and construction phases. So the architect, the town, and the contractor from day one all the way through final acceptance of the project. As I mentioned, the contractor provides pre-construction services. We bring the contractor on early in the process to provide expertise relative to material and equipment selection, value engineering, and constructability reviews. Additionally, throughout the course of the design, the contractor develops cost estimates, and that helps us keep on track to make sure that we stay on budget. We don't want to get 90% designed and then realize we're 20 million over budget. I did want to mention and note that all subcontract work is bid out to at least 3 subcontractors. So they don't just pick their favorite sub, they bid all of that work. Additionally, all of those subcontractors are pre-qualified. So there's an extensive selection process. Near the end of the design process, the contractor prepares what's called a guaranteed maximum price, or a GMP. That's another acronym you'll hear us use a lot. And that it will be presented to council for approval. And so that'll become an amendment to the contract. And the GMP legally binds the contractor to complete the project at or below that specified maximum cost. Now, the only reason they would go above that GMP is through a change order. And say, for example, we want to add a ball field or whatever it might be. So the scope changes from what they were originally estimating. That's a scope change and merits a change order. The GMP would then be increased. But that's really the only way that happens. Who is Adolphson Peterson? Well, they're an industry leader known for building community rec center projects and indoor aquatics facilities and other public facilities, including Timnath Middle High. I'm pretty proud of that project because that was one of my projects while I was at the school district. They have 80 years in the construction industry, 43 community rec center projects in Colorado alone. 21 of those projects were completed with BRS architects, who we recently hired. Those projects include Carla Madison Rec Center in Denver, Wheat Ridge Rec Center, South Suburban Rec Center, and Woodland Park Aquatic Center. This is a picture of the Woodland Park Aquatic Center. Ours is going to be better. Staff recommends approval of Resolution 27, Series 2026. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thanks, sir. Questions?
Yeah, with regard to the GMP, are there bonds or some kind of guarantee, like, it's not likely, obviously this company has been around for a long time. They appear to be very successful. They've done rec centers before. Not likely to happen, but if the company mid-project were to have financial difficulties and we were forced to go in a different direction mid-project, is there any coverage for that?
Yes, you have payment bonds and material bonds. So in the state of Colorado, any public works project over 50,000 requires bonding.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have two questions. One's related around the GMP as well. In terms of timing, when will that come back to council?
I'm estimating it could be as far out as a year, but 9 to 12 months most likely.
And this is kind of another question along those lines. So now, like you said, we've approved the architecture and engineering services in our last council meeting. Now we're approving the construction. So as we continue forward, kind of oversight are we going to have in control in place to kind of control costs, schedule, scope, like kind of what you talked about, like change orders? Will this be fully managed internally by your team? Like how are we going to manage that?
Yes, it's fully managed in-house. So Tom has a wealth of experience with rec centers and knows knows them inside and out. As I alluded to earlier, I'm the former construction services director for Poudre School District. I managed a $440 million bond proceed program, built 3 schools, a transportation facility added on to Zach Elementary School, plus completed over 300 other projects across the district. Prior to PSD, I was also the Public Works Director for the town of Evans, number of building projects that we completed. So I think we have a very good team in place, including the architect, the contractor, and an in-house staff. So, and everybody works together. And the beauty of this arrangement is BRS works for us as the contractor. They don't have a contractual obligation to each other. It's all to the town.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Any other questions? If there are no other questions, Councilmember Lake, would you like to make a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 27, series 2026, a resolution approving the proposal with AP Mountain States LLC, DBA Adolphson and Peterson Construction, AP, for the construction of the Timnath Recreation Center.
I'll second.
All right. Discussion, Councilmember Lake.
I just want to say how excited I am for this project to kind of come to fruition. I know it'll take a little while from here on out, but I feel like the steps that we've taken over the last few meetings with the different approvals are really setting the stage for what's to come, and I'm super excited about it. I know Susan's not here. I keep telling her I do want to see if there's a way to get my name on the building. So I just want to throw that out there one more time. Half kidding, but just want to say that I look forward as a community member of looking to see what comes of this, and just really excited.
I will invite you to the topping out ceremony. It's when we put the last piece of structure there. It's tradition for everyone involved in the project to sign the beam. So you'll get an invitation.
I will take that. And if you
Right.
do any kind of like, your names in bricks or like anything like, how Bethke has, like where they have people donate money to help with some of that, let me know.
We should, just another comment. I think we should invite Lisa on shovel day when we break ground. Make sure we get her out there with the shovel.
Councilmember Jenkins.
That was my only comment. We got to make sure she's there.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So I appreciate the RFP process in this and the time that staff has dedicated to this. I just, very big project that we've got on our hands here, a very large scope. So I appreciate, as we continue to move forward, looking at our oversight structure and interested to know as we hit that GMP, what that's going to look like. So I appreciate that feedback, and I'm going to be voting in favor.
I also am very strongly in favor of this. Appreciate the effort that went into identifying the right team here. So thank you, everyone who's been a part of that. I'm also excited that we've got a kickoff meeting for this whole thing scheduled next week, and look forward to that. So thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Then all those in favor of the resolution approving the proposal with AP Mountain States for the construction of the Timnath Rec Center signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay? All right, it passes unanimously. Councilmember Lake, anything before we adjourn?
Nothing to add.
All right, Councilmembers?